Hey, it's Melissa from Kiwi Banana, and today I want to talk to you about an event that I went to. So I've been going to quite a few talking and sharing events of late, and I got the opportunity to actually record this one that recently occurred in Brisbane, where I live. I was at a community space, and the theme was revolution. So the talk at the community hub is it's actually quite a cool space. It's like a house that's set up upstairs, and there's like a bicycle repair station in the backyard, and then they have like a community space downstairs. And the food co-op actually that I'm involved in, they have their co-op nights there below, and there's quite often a number of groups of different sort of not-for-profit organisations and just kind of groups that get together, and they will discuss things or organise things all down in this in the space downstairs, and it's quite cosy, and I really appreciate that space is there available. Now the talk was run by a number of the housemates of the community hub, and some of the speakers are friends of mine, and one of the speakers had advised that there was going to be this kind of Tedx style talk that would be happening, and said that I guess suggested that I come along, and I'm really glad that I did. I guess Tedx being and the fact that it's kind of inspired by the TEDx talks that I'm sure some of you may have seen already online, or maybe you've attended some in person too, which I'm sure would be really good. This one was a little bit different, obviously, in the organisation kind of structure is different, and also they want to get the audience more involved, so they set aside time at the end for the audience to kind of partake and ask questions about what had been discussed. So revolution being the theme, and I'm just about to show you some clips of the talk here now.
We could be setting up for-benefit enterprises that help facilitate another lifestyle. One where we, instead of investing in a mythical stock market, we invest in our place. And that place then nourishes us through closed-loop systems, food, water.
It involves all of us participating in conversations about what a better world would look like, as Sam and Steph have touched on. How would it feel? How would it work in practice? And our world is complex, so no one can possibly define in intricate detail every aspect of the different better society we're hoping to create. But we do at least have to articulate a rough idea of which direction we want to be heading in. I mentioned earlier that decolonisation has to be a central goal of any transformative project, but the Australian nation state is a fundamentally racist colonial institution. Indigenous political systems and ways of knowing are impossible for a colonial nation state to fully comprehend and meaningfully engage with. So for non-Indigenous people, when we're rethinking how we structure our social and political institutions and how we want to make decisions collectively, a key focus needs to be finding new paths that are able to negotiate and communicate meaningfully with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander political communities about decolonisation, truth-telling treaties, and respecting First Peoples sovereignty. So I guess the core point is that if the work of transforming and rebuilding our way of life is done exclusively by people in positions of relative privilege, then we risk reinforcing and replicating those forms of structural oppression. So rather than trying to draw definitive conclusions, we have to acknowledge the voices that aren't present in this conversation and give up some of our existing power and proactively create spaces for marginalised voices to articulate their own utopias.
And it's about, again, both speakers have touched on, about capturing people's imagination of what could be as well. But I think the main thing is that really gets people, that cuts through all the media and all the stories that we're hearing, is what if we actually we started with where we're at, and we saw the crises that are happening around us that are already impacting on communities as an opportunity. What would that actually look like? And I think that's where the revolution potential comes in, because it's moments of disruption that hold the promise for something new to emerge. It's in that space and that rupture that something different can step in if we're practicing all these things around us as we go. So what if we see climate change as a gift? Like, what if this is the moment where we're getting the feedback that we need that is showing us where we're out of balance? What if by acting on climate change, we could actually create a better world, a more just world, a world where we're living within planetary boundaries, around a world where there's more equity, a world that's more inclusive. What if through acting on climate change we actually recognise the role that First Nations people in this country have played for tens of thousands of years, if not longer, in actually being custodians of this land, that understand this land, that have weathered so many different changes, and are still actually custodians of that land and doing a lot of unpaid work in the formal system of actually nurturing and regenerating and continuing those cycles of the land. What if this was an opportunity to address land rights?
So yeah, if you want, you can get in contact with me or get in contact with the organisers of the space. I've left a link in the description box down below if you want to get more inspired to do something like this in your community and you want a little bit of guidance on how to do so. I think these kind of things are really good to have, and I think all communities should have a space like that, or even just events, should I say, talking and sharing about what do you want to see in your community, and where do you think, we should all be looking to go towards for our community and for ourselves. Because from my understanding, each community is slightly different, and so each community needs to look at what it is that they have and what it is that they need and what it is, I guess, that is their shared vision as to where they would like to go forward in the future. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this wee little vlog, and you're more than welcome to leave your comments and questions in the question section down below, and I will see you next video. I hope you manifest some happiness today.